Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing something extremely difficult with this car. Hint, it's not the heater core. That would be this part right here. Most Foxbodies are hatchbacks that you guys see on YouTube or notchbacks, and the ones that are convertible, nobody really gets into it. They just pawn it off to somebody else to fix it. Well, this part right here, the rear quarter window, has a motor that is easily replaceable. Easy. 1 out of 1 monkey wrench. Now, if you have to replace the guide rod, which keeps the window from going straight and then prevents this from shifting around like that, that's where it becomes difficult. Not in the removal and the install, but the alignment. The alignment makes this project an easy 10 out of 10 monkey wrenches, because you have to be really patient, and you are going to test your convertible's motor very quickly to see whether or not it's broken. So the very first thing that we need to do is remove the rear seats from the vehicle. I do recommend that you guys get a ratchet set, a good one that has all the pieces, and for the first part you're going to need a 7/16 nut driver with an extension to get to it. To get to that nut, there's two of them. There's one right there and one right there. You need to remove this seat. So you need to push forward and then pull straight up. As you guys can clearly see, I have already done that side of the vehicle. That is from where I was standing in the vehicle and working in that whole area. If you guys plan on doing this in your car, free advice, put down a towel or something, because this coating that they use on there peels off very easily. Now that the seats are out of the vehicle, you can access the two nuts. You got your first one right here in this spot. Let's see. There it is. So there's your first 7/16, and you got the other one right there. Now, this is a trick that I've learned over time when working on cars, and it could be beneficial to you, especially if you have a memory like Dory, like me. I can't remember half of what I'm doing. So what I like to do is as I take the nuts off the vehicle, I write down what are they. They're 2 7/16, and they are for the rear seat. And then what I will do is I will take these, open this up, and I will start here. This will be my first. As I'm going deeper into the vehicle, there's more and more layers. So I'll go ahead, I'll put this in right there, and I'll put these two right there. That way I don't lose anything, and I know exactly what tools I need when it comes time to put them back in. And then you just follow the puzzle in reverse. As you guys can see here, the rear seat has these little upward hooks that grab on to that bar right there. So you have to press down and then come at you and then come up. So that is the sequence. So when you guys are getting it back in, you have to come at it with this side in first, get it on the hooks, and then press it down into it. So now for the very next part, we're going to want to remove this piece off of here. As you guys can see, this side of the vehicle, this piece is a little bit damaged. Somebody had gone in here to work on these speakers, so we're gonna have to fix this. So we have one screw right there, one there, another one hidden right here. We have this guy that we may have to get off, and then on this side of the vehicle, there's that one right there. way up top. So let's go ahead and get all those off, and then we'll be able to pull this whole thing off. I also do recommend taking this door speaker trim panel thing, whatever you guys want to call it, take this thing off first, unplug all the connections, and set it aside so you don't break it. So now that we have all of the screws taken off on this side, we got the speaker taken off on this side, and the wonderful thing about these old American cars is they were all held on by P2 Phillips screws, which means if you lose one, you can just go to Home Depot and buy another one. There's no crazy Torx bits or any of that nonsense. Ah, the good old Mercedes days. So let's go ahead and take this whole thing out. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to remove the seat belt, get this out of the way so that way we can have freedom to work within the vehicle. To do this, you're going to very carefully, from the back side of this whole panel, you're going to see some clips. Let's go ahead and show you guys those clips. So now all you have to do is take the seat belt, slide it through this gap, and then take these two Phillips screws off, and then just slide the entire seat belt this way. So now with the panel out of the way, we can finally get to the innards. These are the innards right here. We got the whole seat belt restraint system that needs to be detached. We got this little piece to be detached. All of this, there's a whole bunch of stuff we gotta start detaching. But what I recommend, and what I strongly recommend, is getting a Sharpie and marking where these pieces all line up. This is going to help you when you guys are putting everything back together to make sure that you are within spec. This is an old trick that I've done for a long time, because sometimes you guys start putting things back together and then suddenly the screws are not lining up with anything. So it's really important that you guys get your own little system going, and this is mine. Just take a Sharpie, and then I go ahead and I just trace right around where this thing has to go. So for this next part, you're going to need a 1/2 inch socket, 5/16 socket, and a T45 socket. T45 is going to go right here to take this top piece off, and then the 1/2 inch is going back along this side. You guys can see, not that one, this guy right up here. This guy right up here is the 1/2 inch, so that's going to go there. And then the 5/16 is going to go to this bottom one right there. This is going to remove this entire panel and allow me to push it and set it aside over there so I can keep working. If you guys want to take the whole thing out of the vehicle, you're going to have to take this part off down here. The best advice I can give is do not take your power tool and immediately start going after the nuts. Instead, use your force on it, put your body weight, and slowly start to crack the nut loose. Once the nut is cracked loose, then you guys can go ahead and use your power tool ability. And now with the entire panel pushed off to the side, we are able to get in here, and now we need to remove this plastic lining in here. Hey, where are you going, Ripley? Want to try and help me out? In case you guys want to know, this is a puppy greyhound. They're very rare. Usually you never see puppies of greyhounds, and since dog racing is now legal in most of the country, you guys can pick yourself up an adorable little goofball like this. So the inner shield, that's this plastic thing. This is supposed to prevent water from getting in here. You guys are going to take off that plastic guy there, that plastic guy there. These two down here actually come off with your hands pretty easily. And then this whole puppy should just come right off. With the plastic water shield off, you guys are now able to remove your motor. If this is all you guys have to replace, life is easy. This is great. This is a simple removal. Just go ahead and take these puppies off, and then the motor will just slide off, slide on your new motor, and you guys are good to go. Now the part in question is down here. As you guys can see right there, these are the bushings, and the bushings have completely destroyed themselves. The good news is the plastic
piece way down here at the bottom appears to be 100% intact. It's not broken. That is a common problem. These plastic pieces break, and you guys can get yourself an aftermarket metal one that will go ahead and go in there, and what that does is that prevents it from breaking again in the future. My advice to you guys, if you guys want to simplify your life, and if yours is not broken, I would recommend do not bother replacing that guy down there if he's not broken, because that is a crucial step in aligning this whole thing. When you guys take this whole thing off, if you guys have to drill those out and put in a new one, it becomes very, very challenging. I had to do it on that side of the vehicle, and I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side. I'm going to put myself through the torture so you guys can understand the process of doing that.
Our next thing that we have to remove is these two nuts off of here. Loosen this, and then allow this whole thing to slide over. That way you don't lose positioning that this piece goes here. You guys can take all this off and then put it all back on the vehicle, but I would personally just recommend taking this off and then just sliding, swiveling the whole thing over. You're not going to be working over here. So once that's off, then you need to take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's a 6th one right there. 6. There's actually one more way in the back, way back over there. Let's see if I can get some light on it for you guys. There's one way in the back. Let's see if I can get her. There she is. See her way in the back? And I know what you guys are thinking. How in the bejesus are you guys going to get that nut out of there? You're going to have to close your top. With the top closed, you'll be able to have access to that final one. So there's a total of 8 of those that have to come out. So I'm going to give you guys a free trick to memorize this next part. They're all 7/16. All of them are 7/16 that we need to remove to get this whole thing off of here, including those. Those are all 7/16. This is American, so we don't have to worry about funky different sizes. All of the ones that attach the motor plate to the body of the vehicle, this is how you're going to remember, they're all chrome, or they were chrome. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then remember this guy is way back over there, right there, 7, and then those are all chrome. Now this is black, and this one is black. So we're going to have to take those 2 black ones off, but that's how you remember which ones go where, because they are different lengths, and that's really, really important to remember. You can see here, they're very, very specific to where they go. So you can't go mix matching. Even though they are all the same nut head size, they're not the same length. Now for this bracket down here where all the black ones were, this one is just a nut. This one was a nut and a bit, and then this one is just a bit. So we're going to go ahead and take all those off, and then we're going to get this bracket out of here. That's going to allow us to get the wiggle room that we need to get this whole thing out of here. So a slight word of caution when removing these 2 top ones right here. For one, they're gold, or they kind of look gold. They're silver. So at least you know the silver top washer nuts fused together go to this L bracket. But when you take this one off right here, this is the importance of marking things. This piece is going to want to move on you. So it's really important to know where it was, and that you mark wherever its location was before you guys take that one off. And now with this whole part loosened, you can pick this up and then just push it out of your way. That way you guys can work on this. The very next step is going to be taking the motor plate off. So we're going to have to raise the top, take those 2 out. You guys will need a universal joint to make that crazy 90-degree turn to get those 2 off. Just be careful.
all of this is really, really loose. This is loose, and this thing's ready to drop on you. So if anything drops, the good news is it'll fall down there into that area, so you guys can just grab it. With the top up, we will be able to get in here and remove the last two nuts holding the plate on. We have this one here and that one. As you guys can see, this convertible top is beginning to go down, so I may have a problem here with this piston. Maybe a future video. It should not be moving like that, so if you guys hear it moving, that's a no-no. You should just be able to stop in place. The other side is fine. So as you guys can see, it's moved into position where I can't get to that one anymore. So for that first rusty nut right there, I'm going to use a extension. That's a 3-inch extension with a universal and the 7/16 at the end. That's going to be able to get me that angle that I need to get that one out. With the top up all the way, we can get to that final one. Use the same setup, 3-inch extension, universal, and the 7/16. So there's an interesting observation that I found when removing the plate screws for the motor plate. The ones that go here, the bright chrome ones that were here, 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 and here, are very girthy, to put it correctly. They are a lot more girthy. The other ones that ran across in Rustville down there, they are more thinner, and they also appear to be shallower, and I think it has something to do with this gearing right here, that it doesn't want to touch it. So it's really, really important that you guys kind of know which ones go where. And this is when you guys start to appreciate the importance of doing things like this, because things are starting to get a little bit chaotic now. Had you guys just thrown them in a pile, it would be a disaster getting Humpty Dumpty back together again. The next thing that we're going to have to do is remove this little C-clip right off of here, and then very carefully prevent everything from going down into the real abyss. If it goes down into the real abyss, you're going to have to get a magnet and pull it back out. So I'm going to very carefully get this C-clip off of here, and then I'm going to slide this whole thing in this direction. So now with the C-clip and the little last retaining nut off, this whole thing should just come right out. So there you go. That is... very carefully, don't lose this washer. That goes on the back side of the whole thing. So in total, you guys should have 2 washers and 1 C-clip. Your biggest fear is if they go down in that area. If they go down in that area, you're going to have to get yourself a magnet and pull it up. Now this is super, hyper, duper important. Look at how it is. Look at this, look at that. Look how everything is bolted on here, because this is where people fail. What people do is they start loosening this, they loosen that, they loosen this, they loosen that. You guys start making everything all nice and loosey-goosey, and then next thing you know, alignment becomes a nightmare. So I recommend for you guys, don't touch these. Don't touch it. If you guys have to touch it, make sure you clean it off, take a marker, circle around it, line it up, because that weird angle that it is, that's the weird angle to make this whole thing go up and down. To align this thing, this is the tricky part, and this is where a lot of people don't really talk about it. The top screws here control which way the window swings, like this. So as the window's coming up, it's going to want to swing outward like this. See, here comes the window up, it's going to want to twist. That's what the top one controls. The top one controls the twist. That's That's the angle that this thing is going to be coming up, and it's going to want to turn. If you guys have everything all straight up, it's going to want to do this. So you need a twist. That's why things look like that. The bottom one, this one right here, controls the forward and backward cant. That's backward cant, forward cant. If you loosen it and you guys push it more towards this direction, when it closes, it's going to be like this. It's going to want to go straight up like that. So you need to have some forward cant on there so that way it goes forward. If that makes any sense to you guys. So that's the important things about those. I don't recommend touching them. I recommend leaving them alone, and then that's going to simplify your life a bit. So what we're going to do now is take those two bottom 7/16 out, and then we're going to try and get this whole thing out of here without removing the two impossible ones over here that hold the window into place, because LMR straight up lied, because you guys can see there that nut is touching that side piece metal, and there's no way a socket's going to be able to get that out of there. There's absolutely no way. And just as I thought, by taking the two 7/16 out, the entire rod will literally slide right out. You're going to have to take that top black cap off. So just go ahead and just pop that thing off. And now with this off, you will be able to get the guide rod out from under here, and then you'll be able to pull the window out. And as you guys can see here, the trick is to get it up high like this, where you can get your thumb up there and hold it into place, and then just pull the guide rod out from the bottom. There's plenty of space for it to come out. So the very next thing that we're going to have to do is remove the bushings from the window guide. You have this bushing here, you have this bushing over here, and as you guys see, there's a boatload of old silicone in there. So I recommend just cleaning out this whole thing. I'm going to use non-chlorinated brake cleaner and just go ahead and get this nice and clean and get those bushings replaced. Now to get the bushings off, just get a little flathead, get in here, and then just pop it off like so. Let's see if it's kind of difficult to do one-handed, but I'll give it a shot. You guys can see there, that bushing was already deteriorated. There you go. That's all that's left of that bushing. There's nothing else. That's my window sliding around in there. Then we'll go ahead and repeat the process for the one down here. And these are the parts that we're going to need to install to replace them. So now what we're going to need is a 7/64 bit, and then we're going to drill out these rivets. And once you guys have them drilled out, then I'm going to show you the next thing that you want to do before you guys take a hammer to them and mess up the metal. By the way, if you guys want to work a little bit more comfortably, you can take this whole assembly off by taking this cotter pin off right here. Just go ahead and grab these cable wires and then pull them out. But I personally like to hold on to it. It gives me a little bit of leverage and support as you go through the drilling process. So I recommend cutting them off. Once you guys have successfully drilled them out, the next thing that you want to do is cut them out. And to cut them out, you got one of two choices. Get yourself Dremel, and then just go ahead, cut through the plastic, do a clean cut, and then this will literally just fall right off like butter. And that will give you guys a nice level surface, because as you guys can see here, it's not really level per se. But what I've learned from following the way that LMR did, if you take your hammer to it and you start wailing to get this guy out of here, for one, as you can see, it's very flared out on the bottom. So you're going to have to pinch them all in and then tap it out. But as you tap it out, this ear is going to deform, which is going to cause a lot of imbalance. And after doing this a few times, I found out that this is the absolute best way to do it.
now that you guys have successfully cut them all off and you got these nice clean cuts on there, you can just literally take your finger on it, push, and then grab a set of needle nose pliers. Just grab right there, give it a little twist. Little guy will come right on out without damaging the surface. Just like that. And look at that. Not D-shaped, not unformed, everything is perfect. Now with the whole piece and everything removed and everything nice and level, we'll be able to easily install our billet aluminum upgrade. So as you guys, if you really do the math, the car built in 1990, 40,000 miles, has no problem with this particular component. So I think that this is a bit of an overkill, but it's one of those things that is, while you are in there, you should probably upgrade it. So this is everything you need to upgrade. It comes with a new pin, comes with all the new little pieces right here. So it is a really nice kit. And as you guys can see, without taking a hammer to it, all your holes magically line up. And I was seeing that on the comments for the LMR. Everybody was complaining about the holes not being able to line up. It's because the method that they showed you guys in this flimsy metal is, in my opinion, the incorrect method. So this is what I would say would be the right way of doing this particular part. So now we're going to go ahead and just run these guys up in here and then put the little thread locker on there. So we'll put the little thread locker on it like that, and then we'll run it up in there like that. So you guys can see, goes in easily, no problems, and it's because, like I said, they gave you guys the wrong method the first time around. They shorted me one thread locker too. And now with your billet aluminum piece successfully installed, you guys can now clean your shaft. I recommend using brake cleaner and then paper towel. Just go at it. You want it to be nice and clean, and then everything's just going to literally just button up. You're going to reuse the same window stop, so this part's going to slide back in. If yours is bad, then you may want to get yourself a new one. Then it comes with a new pin for you guys to pass through over here. Now, before I get all of this put back together, as you guys know, the weather stripping is shot to hell and back. So what I'm going to do is take this 9mm off of here, lift this up, drill out the rivets that are in there, and then install a new corner piece here. This little elf ear is actually fine, so I'm going to reuse the elf ear. Eventually I'm going to have to replace the weather stripping along the door, but this is not attached to the elf ear in any way, shape, or form. As you guys can see here, this just goes in up underneath the elf ear like that. So we're going to take this guy off, we're going to reuse him, we're going to replace this. This is shot to heck. You can see it's all a bunch of rivets. So we're going to have to drill them out and then push them out, replace that top piece, and then we'll be one step closer to finishing this back window. So this is all you really have to do to get it up in the air. You just have to be careful because this part right there, if you're not watching it, there's a good chance you may snap off this piece. But you guys can see here there's plenty of play still. I still got plenty of wiggle room, and I have all the space I need to drill out the rivets. There's 1, 2, 3 rivets right there that need to come out, so I'm going to drill them all out, and then this piece will fall right off and it will allow me to put the new weather stripping on. And then this is the corner piece that I hate to bust their chops, man, but for a professional company they shouldn't be saying put 3M tape and put it over here. It's not that hard to get to this part, and then all you got to do is take a little pry tool like this, pop this little guy off, which is a little divot, and that's going to hold a little earpiece in. So not that hard, guys, really not that hard. It could have taken you an extra 3 seconds to get to this step and do it right, instead of saying slide some 3M and put it right there. So let's go ahead, let's get this off, let's get this replaced, and then finish putting in all of that. And now we are in the reassembly phase, and this is when all your alignments and everything came into key focus, as you're going to try your best to line up the glass protector with your original markings that you marked. This is also the time that I strongly recommend you replace the motor, which is super easy. You can take the 7/16, take these off, 1, 2, and then this whole unit, there's a third one right there, this whole unit will just come right off. You're going to put your new one on, and then you're just going to take it from there, because to realign this window you're going to have to make sure you have a good unit to work with. If your unit is not good, you're never going to get this realigned. And honestly, you're better off just buying a new unit, because these things are not that expensive. Here you go, here's a side-by-side comparison. This is the motor kit from LMR, and this is the factory original motor. Realistically, they're identical. I actually like the LMR one better with this black coating on the wire to protect it. I do notice that the wires are going in 2 different directions. It doesn't have these. I don't even know what these are. Maybe like to case all this together. This one doesn't have that. The wires ran completely different. It looks like it has a bigger little notch down here. The plugs are virtually identical. This one's brand new, this one's old. So we're going to take these 3 5/16 off, and we're just going to move them right over to here. Now the very next thing we have to do is test your work. See exactly how well did all of your alignment skills come into play. This is going to be the make it or break it moment for most of you guys. Either one or two things is going to happen. Number one, you really mess things up, and then you're going to have to start loosening the internal guide rods to adjust the left and right and twisties. Or you nailed it and everything's going to work out. Let's see how well I did. Before I do this, I'm going to promise you guys I have not tested this as of yet. I don't know how this is going to work out.
that is not bad. I did okay. I got an okay score. Still not good, but okay. There has been worse rear view installs. So what we're going to have to do is make some adjustments, and we're going to have to move the forward cant so this can push forward a bit more. So let's talk about this particular step right now, because this is crucial, and this is where I feel LMR lost a lot of my cred. Even though they got a lot of great parts for this vehicle that I still need, so I'm not going to burn them completely, but the bottom piece right here, this controls the forward and the backward of the window. The top controls the inward twist and the outward twist. So if your window is coming up correctly and it's just off on the alignment and there's no gap where you can see into it, then all you have to do is adjust this. These are 7/16 nuts. There's two of them. Loosen them. Now watch what happens. I'm going to shift it to the back, and you can see the top of the window moved to the rear. And if I move it the other way, this corner, that corner moves towards the engine. Now look, here we go. Let's see if I can get this all in one shot. I'm going to twist. I'm going to push in this direction. Watch. See? And if I push in this direction, that's what I'm talking about. So luckily in my case, it's just an alignment issue going in that direction. So I need to push the window further out that way. So we're going to try this position and then give it a tightening. And if everything works out, then we'll fully tighten everything. I don't have to adjust the top ones, because the top ones, my windows are coming up and they're perfectly aligned. If your window was coming out like this, like it was flared out, like a scoop sucking in air, then you'd want to twist the top piece in the other direction so it would cup it. It would cup this window. You don't have to do this with the top up, but it is recommended for your final tightening that you make sure everything is kosher, and then you guys lock and cinch everything down. Alright, so after one long consecutive hour of thankfully just working with the bottom positioning, everything is perfect. Fitment, beautiful. Look at that fitment. It is tight. Tight! And now we come over to the other side and we check out the fitment that you guys never saw, because there's always a side for every YouTuber that they never show anything on. That is this side. And of course, it is... it's tight! So, that's what you guys want. You don't want the rear windows. And what I'm talking about, the scooping, is the top plate. If you guys twist it this way, the window's going to want to go in like that. So you're going to be able to stick your whole hand through the back of there. And if you twist it the other way, it's going to twist too much, and it's going to put too much pressure on this glass, and then it's going to want to break itself back here in the corner if you twist it too much. You want to get it aligned perfect, and it's very, very hard to do. I know that 5-minute LMR video made it look like this was the cake job, but this is actually the hardest thing you guys can do on the convertible. Replacing the top, not that bad. I strongly recommend you guys get a pro to do it, because if you don't have all the tools, it is horrendous. Replacing this piece, not that bad. It's just a couple little nuts. Replacing that bushing and all that stuff, horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. If you guys are going to do this, dedicate a long weekend to get it done. I've dedicated multiple days, as you guys can tell from my outfits. But it's done. It's officially done. So we can move on to the next process of this vehicle, which is the sound system, something I'm good at. So we're going to make that happen, guys. I'm so excited to get that shown on video. It is something that I really want to show you guys. And I know you guys want the Wilden version, which is much shorter and less dramatic, so I'm going to try and simplify everything, and I'm going to try my best to make 5-minute videos. And if you add up all the 5-minute videos, if you guys were to watch them all through and through, you guys would have a full story. So stay tuned. I'm going to try my best. I'm trying to juggle a business, juggle a life, juggle work, now juggle a new dog. I'm trying to juggle everything, but I really want this community to continue to grow, and I really want to help the Foxbody community with their horrible sound system decisions of putting Android center units in there. What the hell are you guys smoking? But besides the point, we're going to put the factory unit in there. We're going to amplify it. We're going to do this just like a Mercedes, baby. And it's going to look great. It's going to sound good. And it's going to make all them Ford boys so happy if they watch this video. Till next time, guys. Take care. Peace out.